Hey, this is Caos, the person who's been in charge of all the videos that you've been watching. And yes, this is my first attempt at actually commentating a game that I have played. In this game, I will be playing Karthus, and he's been considered one of my better champions, though I don't use him as often as I do. Now, this is less commentary, I suppose, and more just me prattling on about champions and other things about LoL. So, just sit back, I suppose, if you feel like listening, and here we go. Now, Karthus is one of those champions which have a lot of people have mixed feelings about. Some people feel he's overpowered, a lot of people feel he's underpowered. He's basically a mage DPS who has very little CC other than his slow. He does ridiculous amounts of damage if he gets fed, and if he doesn't, then he tends to fall behind in games. I tend to like starting out with a Dorn's Ring, especially since I know I'm probably going to be going against Pantheon mid. And, well, Dorn's Ring and a health potion. Now, if you. Sometimes I may go Mana Crystal with starting with him if I'm feeling ballsy, but generally I will not. Asking if Vlad wanted mid because with the new changes to the solo experience, Karthus does not need a solo lane anymore. Not absolutely. I could have easily laned with Soraka and dominated, but I suppose I'll take mid. Apparently Vladimir's duo queuing with somebody else. Now, I was hoping it would be an Anivia mid rather than Pantheon, but it's going to be a Pantheon. This, of course, is bad for Karthus generally, since most Pantheons can rip a Karthus a new one if he gets close enough. He just has way too much burst for most squishy casters to deal with. Luckily, though, I do have one thing over Pantheon, and that's a good range. Now, Karthus's four skills are, as we all know, Lay Waste, Wall of Pain, Defile, and the creme de la creme, Requiem. His bread and butter is, of course, Lay Waste, which is his Q, his auto attack, the main thing that separates a good Karthus from a bad Karthus. If you can actually land your Lay Waste, so that was a bad one, then you can easily dominate whoever you're up against. Four or five of those, and they're probably going to be hurting, especially if you hit them in a row. See, his HP drops pretty dang fast from the combination of Lay Waste and that turret shot he took. And another advantage over Pantheon, his shield will not block your main damage, which is your Lay Waste. He's already hurting. But this Pantheon went with a First Blood build, which is a risky setup where he goes with the Fort Pot, the and then the potions, of course. So I have to play extra carefully, especially once he gets his full combo up. He might have his stun now, he might have his Heartseeker strike. He probably has his stuns, but though he's not used it. Now, on a side note here about the new items. Though I did not, the only item I could actually pick up in this game is Death Cap. It is a pretty strong item, especially when considering that it gives even more AP than even that the Zonias did. Though Zonias would still by far be stronger just because of the passive, and since it's all pushed into one item. But the other one, Zonia's Hourglass, is a much needed armor AP item. Theoretically, if you just get Ryla's Rod of Ages and as many of those as you want, if they're heavy armor, they won't be able to touch you. Okay, back to Karthus. Right now, I level up my Wall of Pain before I do my Defile. Mainly because its chasing potential, its addition to your DPS is much more than what Defile can do early on. Even if you were leveling it up solely, it just can't match the same DPS. I get a point in it just for the mana regeneration mainly, and for a little bit extra DPS when I'm trying to chase somebody down. But I level Q first, then, well, yeah, Requiem first, then Lay Waste, then Wall, then Defile. Now, one thing you have to always keep in mind about Karthus is you have to have map awareness at all times, no matter what you're doing. Once you get hit level 6, you have to make sure that your other lanes, that they're not low, that you couldn't get a kill, you might miss something. He's especially vulnerable to ganks. So, having a spell like Flash or Ghost on him is especially good. You can drop your wall, which will give you a nice slow flash back. Most people won't be able to catch you unless they have a hard stun. Somebody like Rammus or Warwick at level 6 popping out of the jungle will kill you. Shaco might have some trouble since he doesn't have a hard CC if you're packing Flash, but a lot of junglers do have CC. And somebody like Olaf, if he's 6 as well, he won't care about your wall. He'll run straight through it. Right here is the first kill of the game. The Rammus comes from top. Didn't tell me, but don't underestimate your damage. Don't be afraid of taking a few tower shots if you can get the kill. If you know you can get the kill. But keep in mind that Karthus is a generally very squishy champ. And with my setup, though, I've decided to go with a different set of masteries than usual this time. Normally I go with a 9-0-21 build for mages in Karthus, but recently I've been trying a new sort of build that's based entirely around a little bit extra survivability and while sacrificing some cooldowns. I go with a 9-9-12? Yes, 9-9-12 on Karthus. And my casters now, taking 3 points in each of the defensive armor and magic resist, and 3 points in strength of spirit. The added regeneration for most casters who have a high magic, who have high mana, is tremendous in your staying power. Vhagar, Karthus, any caster can put that to a whole bunch of use. It'll help you outlast most other DPSs, especially in mid. And especially if they have lifesteal, it'll keep you on par with them. Now, I have 2 people in my lane now, so I have to be careful because between his silence and his stun, and the lot of damage, huge amount of damage they can output, both of them, definitely have to keep back a bit. On the tower, Karthus is probably at his strongest. Any defensive position. If he can trap somebody against the tower, he can do a whole lot of damage. He's very hard to push against if you don't have... Oh yeah, I forgot to call a missing right there. But luckily I have my ultimate, which is just enough to scare the Pantheon away on top of their own damage. Unfortunately, they don't get an extra hit off, so I don't grab the kill on that one. But top takes advantage of my damage and moves in for the kill. And a weakened Shen comes in at bottom, and Tristana picks up a double kill on both him and Kog'Maw. Now, Karthus in its and then there's Pantheon man dropping down on Vladimir. Now, Karthus in himself is not a very good, doesn't do very much damage to towers, but he's an excellent at pushing lanes, especially once the defile is picked up. Now, if you time it right with his lay waste, you can clear minions without interrupting your auto attack at all. But if you decide to go with a Lichbane build with Karthus, he'll down towers faster than anybody. Even Yi. So even with Kassadin's 15% reduction passive, even one lay waste took out a good chunk of his health. It's a low cost, high spam ability spell too, so... Now, with this setup, I don't have to worry about taking his shots too much. I can regenerate most of it, but here comes Pantheon. He's trying to come and man drop my ass. But, oh, yep, fail Anivia is fail. Now, I'm not exactly what you'd call the best of players, but I have a basic grasp of the game, to say the least. So if you have anything you'd like to comment on a video, don't forget to put it in the. Oh, there's Ramus. I'll get back to that later. Okay, Ramus is coming in, going for the gank. Unfortunately, I don't think I pick off the kill here. I didn't want to use my flash because I thought I was going to get him, and I didn't want to flash over the wall and risk his stun. So I miss on that kill. That was my bad. That was bad on my part. My ultimate is down, so I can't pick him off. Now, though I'm low on mana, I can. By last hitting the auto attack, you pick up a lot of mana just from this. Even at level 1, that's 20. It regenerates 20 mana at level 1. Now, a lot of people like to level up Defile first because all you have to, if you level at the same level as your Q, it heals the exact same amount as your lay waste costs. See, with those extra defensive masteries, that does nothing to me. Well, defensive masteries out of my levels. Even though all I have for as a defensive item is my... Now, lay waste is important. See right there, he couldn't see it in the brush that easily, so he had no chance of dodging that. Leading an opponent when they can't see you cast on Karthus is possibly one of the easiest ways to drop a kill. Once again, I'm attempting to scare him off with my ultimate and maybe help them pick up a kill or an assist. Yep, there we go. Kog'Maw takes down him, but he manages to kill the other two. Here comes Anivia trying to actually hurt me. Though that wasn't necessary of Ramus, I was fine, but still appreciated. Even when you're backing, keep well aware of where you are. Don't be always shopping. Though I have a habit of dying because I shop. So I'm doing really well this game. Even though I'm playing Karthus, I don't have games that go this well. I may not have picking up that many kills, but it's still early on, about 12 minutes in or so. And we're just pushing all lanes, and they're able to actually capitalize on my ultimates properly. Now, if you're playing with a Karthus, you gotta remember, he doesn't always just hurt them. Most people won't be expecting the ultimate. At least not at any random moment. They'll be expecting it when they're low and Karthus is trying to pick them off. But when you see the red lights, that's your time to push. Because they will be down 250 health, and when they're low level, that's a lot. And you will most likely have the damage to take them out. Now, I have to be careful with Shen, because if he taunts me at this range, I'll be taking turret shots, and I don't want to do that in case anybody else comes jumping in on me, namely Pantheon. So even the tank Shen falls to my Qs really quickly. As for my rune setup right now, I go with... there's Pantheon. As Rams is fully aware of what's going on, he comes in and helps me pick up another kill, and my first 2 stacks of Magi's. Once again, my runes are, I stick with Magic Penetration, Red, and Quince. Mana per level blues. No. Mana per level yellows and cooldown per level blues. Why I go with the cooldown per level is because I don't like losing my late game power in exchange for early game power. And with Karthus, you really don't need the extra cooldowns early on. You have enough. Your lay waste does not need the extra cooldowns, and you won't benefit from the ultimate that much until later on. Now, as you can see in that fight right there, Rammus came in, but I was nowhere near. So still, he was definitely a risky maneuver. We are not on Vent in this game. This is I am duo queuing with the Soraka. And here we go. The Pantheon tries to gank the Tristana, but in the process gets blasted by my ultimate, which just came off cooldown. back to the other point right there. Though we're not on event, I must applaud this Ramos. He has pretty good sense of what to do. What usually makes players good is not necessarily their individual skill, but their actual ability to coordinate their actions. If you two people take an action that would be normally not that intelligent, but they do it in sync together, they both go for that dive, they both use their abilities, or they both back off. It's a lot more effective than if one goes forward, the other one backs off. Without the coordination, you'll fall apart in the laning phase, especially if you're laning with somebody else and not solo. And unlike most carries, Karthus during this phase requires a whole lot of team support. He cannot get those lane kills without his teammates helping them. Now, as you can see here, Soraka is doing a strange build than what most people do with her. He's going with what I call Battle Raka, which is focusing on her, using her infuse as more of a nuke than as a mana heal. Now, I believe this Pantheon actually disconnects right here, and that's makes this kill ridiculously easy. Oh, no, there he is. And he's dead. See, though that was a total and complete KS, I have Majias, I'm Karthus. So, I have a saying with Karthus. Karthus, it is impossible to KS with him, since all kills rightfully belong to him. We're moving to gank bottom. They obviously have no idea what's going on, else they would have backed long ago. Another key point to Karthus is your wall placement. See, I managed to grab them both into the wall. Now, if Shen had been on, he might have been able to save Kog'Maw right there. But he wasn't, so that's their loss. And pushing. A lot of people consider Soraka to be very underpowered now, but if you pair her with Karthus, they are diametric opposites. Though she counters Karthus in the most ridiculous of fashions, she also complements him very well. The heals, the global ultimate combined with his global damage makes her... You can make a difference in a team fight of well over 2,000 health that way. If you build that way, of course. I believe I have 10 stacks right now on the Majias, doing very well for being only 18 minutes in or so. See, right there was perfect with the wall. Splitting them off, just knocking down Anivia, who I know has no egg since she just died. Combined with Vlad's ultimate, and Tristana's focus just destroys that Shen. Now, when you're placing a wall, there's 3 basic ways you can place it. If you want to catch the runners, you put it behind them, obviously. If you want to stop them from attacking you, you put it in front. But during most team fights, you don't want to put it in either of those positions, since though it would dictate where you want them to go, but you want to cause confusion. Throwing it in the center splits them off from their team. Most people's instant reaction is not to go through it. And since they don't go through it, it's as effective or more effective than Anivia's wall. Since your teammates can pass through it as they wish, and if they decide to go through it, then they will be slowed to hell and die. Since I level it first, I can easily cover the entire lane, which is another point you must make when you're defending. You can cover an entire entrance with Karthus' wall, which makes entering impossible for most people. Okay, so a little bit of lull in the combat right here. Pantheon jumps onto Trist, is saved. Oh no, she dies to Trist's ignite. Though Trist then makes a stupid mistake jumping into the center there, though she might have died anyways. There goes Rammus, deciding that he can take them on. I am low on mana right now, and I can't afford to run in there and lose my stacks. Ult is down, can't pick them off, so that would have been a lovely time to ult. With Soraka constantly on me, keeping her infuse, keeping me with mana, keeping me with health, she can keep a push going. She is the walking fountain. And Karthus is the turret. Now, I could have possibly ulted to kill this guy, but I wasn't entirely sure if he was back at the fountain already. He probably was, and I didn't want to waste Karthus' ridiculously long cooldown on a maybe kill. Now, when playing against people, and you can't push your lane, unless you have a really good siege combo like Soraka and Heimer, I wouldn't suggest staying in there. You might duck up, duck down, duck to a different lane, switch it out. Maybe you can take a few pot shots at a tower. If they don't have a Heimer to repair the turret, that's just going to every hit counts. Now, Karthus is an extremely mana-dependent champion, so on the maybe exception of Anivia or Swain, he should always be the one to get the blue buff. Its cooldowns help his ultimate, and help him drop his wall more often, and the mana regeneration helps him with his spamming of abilities and use of Lay Waste. And Defile, I mean. Now, right there, Flash saved me, and they were overextended trying to kill me. So instead of getting me, they die. Right here, I pick up another kill, I think a pair of kills? No, I think I just got one in that fight. But my teammates clean up the rest, basically, with Anivia being the only one up. Just wail on this turret. Now remember, kills are nice in a game, but your objective is to kill the Nexus. You could be up 80 kills and they could have 2. But still, if they kill the Nexus, they win. And yes, I am currently at 20 stacks with the Magias. Karthus with 20 stacks is a scary thing. He just deals so much damage. If he's attacking a single target, on top of the MR reduction from Wall of Pain, he is doing 0.92, well, 92% of his AP per second. It's 0.7 coming from his Lay Waste and 0.25 from the Defile. I believe I'm going to back here and go get one of the new items, the Death Cap. This will cause a huge spike in my AP. It's kind of ridiculous. And we're coming up on the 22-minute mark. This game is coming closer to a close. Now, using my wall to block them off, but Anivia uses hers to counter mine in a way. Between the two, Karthus' wall is so much better. Sure, you can block people off, but with Anivia's wall, to pick up easy kills if they don't have a way of getting out. But Karthus' wall just wrecks teams. Though, in a game dominated by burst damage, Anivia definitely has the advantage over Karthus in that regard. Here we go. Pantheon is out of positioning. Now, I was using my Lay Waste to scout him. It has ridiculous amounts of range. He goes back into the fight, and right there, beautiful triple kill of my ultimate. Using my wall to finish her off, and I am KS'd by Soraka. Denied the Quadra by Soraka. Now, since this Soraka is having high AP, she has very strong heals. What does she have right now? She too has a death cap. start wailing on this turret. This game is coming to a close soon. They have only one thing to do. They have one mission at this point before they want to, and you'll see what that mission is. I make a mistake here. I'm overextended. Pantheon jumps on me. They start beating the crap out of me. I get so close to death, and then Soraka chain heals me. That's what Soraka does. She chain heals. Now, after that beautiful save from Soraka, I decide, hey, I'm fed. I can take these guys. I can't. Not alone. So I die. And about 30 seconds later, they surrender, messing up my perfect 14-0 score and turning it into a 14-1. Well, that was my game as Karthus. So, see you guys next time.